Historically, over 30% of Nissan's profits and sales have been in China. However, now experts believe it's only a matter of time before Nissan also follows Jeep and declares bankruptcy in the country. This year, EV sales in China have been historic. Incredible. 850,000 electric cars were sold in September alone. But only 0.01% of those were Nissans. In fact, of Nissan sales this year in China, only 0.2% were electric. Not long ago, Nissan's debt, which is fairly substantial, was downgraded by credit agencies worldwide to junk. It's the only current legacy automaker whose debt is considered high risk. Now, the big problem was that was before Nissan sales in China, its most important car market worldwide, took an enormous hit. And things continue to spiral out of control. The media doesn't seem interested in reporting what's really going on at Nissan. I wonder why that is. Hello, my friends. Welcome to the channel. I'm sure you can work out the answer to that question. Anyway, great to see you. I'm Sam Evans, and you're watching The Electric Viking. Got to say a big welcome to all the new subscribers. Great to have you guys. Welcome back, everyone else. So what am I talking about here with Nissan? Well, Nissan, for many years, had the best-selling car in China, the Nissan Sylphy. Probably never heard of it, but it was, like I said, for years, the best-selling car in China. It's not anymore. It just lost that title, not very long ago, in fact. But the thing is, this car is old. It's an internal combustion engine sedan. And consumers are moving away very quickly from sedans. Just ask Lucid and have a look at their sales. Yeah. And Nissan, well, they're at a point of crisis. Now, the truth is Nissan has a lot of debt and banks don't want to lend them money. Or they will lend the money, but at much higher interest rates. And because Nissan doesn't make many electric cars, the risk is clearly increasing. Their sales are continuing to slide in China, which is by far Nissan's most important car market. Traditionally, it makes more profit and sells more cars in Nissan every single year than anywhere else in the world. Japan's hesitancy towards EVs, and of course Nissan's after the departure of Carlos Ghosn, is taking its toll on automakers that are not Chinese, right? If they're not Tesla and they're not Chinese, the Chinese citizens genuinely think they're inferior. Now, this is a big part of the problem because the perception of the Chinese who have been surveyed and polled on this issue is that China makes better EVs than Germany or Japan does. So even if Japanese automakers ramp up EV production, it doesn't really help them because Chinese consumers are not stupid. They know that this EV ramp up is being done by their own companies. Who makes Toyota's EVs in China? Is it Toyota or is it Chinese companies such as FAW, BYD parts going into them? So Chinese consumers are not stupid. They know that. Chinese consumers are basically saying, why would we buy a Toyota EV? And you can see they're not buying them by the fact that Toyota has reduced their prices to $20,000 for the new BZ4X, and they're still not selling in big numbers. Why are we buying that when we can just go straight and buy BYD from BYD rather than a rebadged BYD from Toyota? And that's what is not entirely completely accurate, but a fairly accurate generalization. And that's at least what Chinese consumers think as well. So the problem for Nissan is they make very few EVs. And if even they are to change that situation in China, the perception from Chinese consumers is still a matter of why would we even buy one? The slow EV transition is costing Nissan in China. And I think that there's not really much they can do now. Nissan is clearly struggling to keep up in the world's biggest EV market, which is growing at a rapid pace. They've hit nearly 40% of the Chinese market share in the month of September. Sales continue to slide for Nissan as a result. The Japanese automaker sales fell 29% in August alone, with only 65,000 units sold. That's one of the worst months in history for Nissan in the country. And that means that of those 65,000, only 106, as in 0.16%. I mean, we're talking the biggest electric car market in the world. Last month, in September, 830,000 electric cars were sold in China. Of those 830,000, 105 had a Nissan badge. 0.16% of all Nissan car sales. I mean, how long will it be before Nissan ceases to exist in China? I mean, what's happened recently, right? Jeep declared bankruptcy in China. And Mitsubishi basically just left the country as well. How long before Nissan does the same? You may think it's irrelevant, but the truth is here. On average, Nissan, 20% of its sales come from China. In fact, historically, it's even been more than that, up to 30%. That's a big loss for a company who already is struggling. Now, Nissan does have an electric car, which you probably haven't heard of, in China. It's actually called the D60. However, its sales fell 60% from last year. Sales in China for Nissan have fallen consistently this year. Nissan sales tumbled 28% in June, another 22.6% in July, and clearly the fall in Nissan sales is accelerating. It's not slowing down. You'd think it would. The sales decline is so fast that analysts keep saying, oh, it'll slow down. And even Nissan themselves said, oh, it's just because there's an anti-Japanese sentiment in China right now, but that'll blow over. Well, it's not blowing over. It's not changing. The fallout comes after Nissan sales plunged 20% last year, dropping it out of the top 5 automakers by market share. It's more of a bit player now, when it once was the largest car manufacturer in China. Now, the thing is, for a number of years, not that long ago, over 30% of Nissan's car sales worldwide were coming from China. But now the problem is that Nissan has so much car manufacturing capacity in China, it doesn't know what to do with these cars. So it's publicly saying this, it's going to send all these excess vehicles that's manufactured and they're just sitting in parking lots around China. It's going to send them to Europe and to other countries, kind of use them as a dumping ground for the gasoline-powered vehicles that the Chinese don't want. So will this work? Well, Australians might think, okay, we'll take them. But the question I have for you is this. Our auto market is very small on a global stage. We sell just over 1 million cars per year, but the global car market is close to nearly 80 million cars per year. So Australia really doesn't enter into the equation here. And the other thing is, remember, these vehicles have been built in left-hand drive. So maybe Australians might want them, but it's going to cost you $20,000 to $30,000 per car to convert them to right-hand drive. Is that economically feasible? I don't think so. Nissan cut its guidance in China a few months ago to 800,000 vehicles for the fiscal year ending 2020. That would say they're expecting a 23% decrease in sales year over year. But their sales are dropping so quickly that figure is certain to rise. Nissan is not the only Japanese car maker struggling. Mitsubishi have left. Mazda sales have declined drastically. Hondas are going down. The same thing's happening to pretty much all Japanese automakers in China. And the thing is, this happens really quickly. In 2019, Mitsubishi sold 135,000 cars. The following year, 34,500. Now, well, they no longer exist in the country. How long before Nissan is in the same position? I genuinely believe it will take no more than 3 to 4 years before Nissan does the same thing and declares bankruptcy in China. But I could be wrong. Who knows? What do you think? Let me know in the comments what your opinions are on that one. And thank you for watching.